Hey guys, I hope this video finds you all well out there in YouTube land. We're actually talking face to face this time. You're actually seeing my face because I'm here to ask you for help. It's become very apparent to me over the last 6 months that the manner in which I make content and then monetize it on YouTube is simply no longer sustainable. I when I finished studying, I was, if you guys don't know this about me, before I started a YouTube channel or anything like that, I was an academic historian. So I studied history, military history, well, First Nation history, but in a postgrad, military history. I'm going through all the way from the undergrad level through to postgrad and eventually the PhD. So I spent about 10 years doing that. And when I finished that very, very long journey, essentially you have two options available to you if you're a historian. You can either teach at school or at a university, work in academia, do research, or you can produce popular history content of one sort or another. Traditionally, that's been books. So the kind of books you see at a bookstore, history books. Now, I always loved the idea of popular history. I really wasn't that into academia, especially after I'd spent that long inside it. It's not all it's cracked up to be. And, teaching's a little too formal for me. And YouTube is an awesome platform to deliver popular history and popular strategic studies content. It reaches millions of people, basically gives you a lot of flexibility. You can really react to your audience and what they're enjoying. And you can also interact with people in a way you just can't if you're an author or something like that. So YouTube really is awesome. And I'm I feel blessed and privileged to be able to bring content to you guys, something I really, really enjoy doing, something I've spent my life doing as well or preparing for. However, YouTube has some downsides. So, all YouTube content creators, we're all at the mercy of the algorithm. And YouTube, she is a cruel mistress at times. So sometimes she loves you, and your videos can do very, very well, get a lot of clicks, and get shown to a lot of people by the algorithm, and that'll bring in a lot of ad revenue. And other times, other videos that to you or to me, the author, seem to be of equal quality, simply don't. And that can be an order of magnitude difference, a factor of 10. So, imagine for you, your work, whatever it is you do, if you finish a project and you get paid 10% what you did for the last project, obviously that can be very, very disheartening. And essentially, when the quality of that work is exactly the same and you put the same amount of effort into the work, those two times, that's just a really, really hard thing to deal with as a content creator. Another thing that's really hard to deal with is random demonetizations. So, a good chunk of my content has been demonetized. Essentially, all of the Iraq content that I've done, I haven't earned a cent from it from YouTube. The only money I've generated from that has been from very, very generous donations by my subscribers and people who watch my content. Extremely generous, that have been deeply, deeply appreciated. But in general, you can't produce content like that, especially how long and how detailed the Iraq War content is, how much work goes into that content, if you're just not going to earn any money from it. So that's actually, if any of you guys are wondering why I haven't gone on with the Iraq series. I have all the research basically lined up to do a full Iraq series right through to the end of the war and even the war with ISIS. That was my original plan, to do a prequel, which was Desert Storm, go all the way through the conflict, until through the surge and everything, until after, the drawdown, essentially what is a quasi victory in the end, and then a postscript, which is the war with ISIS. All extremely interesting stuff. However, the work that goes into that is very, very difficult. It's a very, very complicated war to understand from a socio-cultural perspective, especially when there's so many different insurgent groups and they all have different identities and different beliefs and blah, blah, blah. They all interact within the insurgency differently, and they all interacted with coalition forces differently during different times. It's just a very, very hard war to understand. And that means the research is very difficult, and it takes a lot of time and effort and work. And if you're not going to get paid a cent for doing it, basically, I'm not going to do it. So that's one reason why I haven't gone on with the Iraq content as much as I'd love to. And as I said, the research is already lined up. I've already got it on my computer. I've read a bunch of it. So these are some of the reasons why basically I'm standing here saying that I'm going to change the model in which I deliver content to you guys. Not because I want to, but because I have to. Basically, I have to move to some kind of a user pay model if I'm going to do this sustainably. Like, this is my full-time gig. I'm trying hard to make this my full-time gig. Other than this, I'm a dad. I spend my other time of my week raising my son and trying to get a surf in when I can. But Generally speaking, this is what I'm trying to do, and I really don't want to have to go back and get another day job. I really want to do this, but it just might not be sustainable unless I move to some kind of a user pay model. This isn't something I ever wanted to do. I really don't think anyone should have to pay for any of my content. I really want everyone to enjoy it who wants to enjoy it. Anyone who wants to see it should be able to enjoy it. But unfortunately, the way YouTube works, I just can't do it. So basically, this is a very long-winded way of saying, which is pretty like me being long-winded, of saying I'm introducing channel memberships. And one of the primary things I'll be offering in exchange for channel for memberships and channel members is members-only content. So basically, I'm thinking every third video I make from now on will be a members-only video. I would, like for those to be made public later on down the track, maybe 6 months down the track or whatever, because I understand that not everyone has the spare money to pay a YouTube content creator, and some people might really like the work, but not be able to afford to pay to see it. I understand that and I appreciate that. I think it should be up to the members though. So when I get enough members, I'll run a poll and see what you guys think, whether I should eventually make this content public or not. Because I think if they're the ones paying for it, really it's theirs and they get to decide whether it goes public or not. So the first members only video is actually going to be released with this video. It's already complete. So what that is, essentially I thought for members only content, if you're going to pay money for my content, then you're probably a real one. You know what I mean? You're probably a history and a strategic studies nerd like I am. You love the detail and you love the really nitty gritty stuff. So this video, doesn't really hold any punches back when it comes from, being an academic technical paper. Essentially that's what it is. It's a draft for a research paper that I would have in my previous life submitted to a strategic studies journal for peer review. That's the idea of it. Now, it's not quite as detailed as that. It would need a substantial amount of work, but this is roughly the length and roughly what I would do if I was going to write a draft to try and get something published. So what this one is specifically, so that's the style of video that this is. Just imagine that turned into a video. What this is a review of the most important pieces of literature and the models that are developed that model an artillery exchange along the demilitarized zone of the Korean Peninsula. So essentially an artillery barrage in the Seoul region. Now, there's been lots of work done by strategic studies academics on this, modeling a potential artillery exchange. And some of their results have made a lot of waves in popular media. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the idea of potentially 300,000 civilians killed by North Korean artillery in an hour and that kind of a thing. So that has been essentially what we've all been conditioned to believe as a result of numerous academic kind of studies. But interestingly, over the last couple of years, some models have been developed and some research has been done that really challenge this narrative in a really fundamental way. So basically what this video is a kind of deep dive into the literature that examines and predicts models, essentially, a artillery exchange in the Seoul region. And I give you a critical apparatus with which to view them all. I essentially think that all of them have their issues, and I put forward my own conclusions and my own model at the end of the video. So that's essentially the gist of what this first members only video is. It's a little bit different than the kind of just more general history content that I've been producing of late. It's much more detailed and technical. So I figured, members would probably like that kind of a thing. It's not the kind of thing you're going to generally see on YouTube. It's kind of more a style of content that you would read in a strategic studies journal. Whether you guys like that or not, up to you. I'll see what members think of it. I'm totally open when it comes to members only content. I'm doing whatever you guys want. So, if you like this style of content, I'll do more of it. If you want some more history content, I can do that. I can also do some ancient history content if you guys are into that at all, or different historical eras that we haven't touched before, or, more strategic studies stuff. I'm really, really open to whatever members want me to do, because ultimately you guys will be the ones paying for it and supporting the channel and supporting all of the work that gets done. So, I just want to thank all of you guys anyway. Even if any of you don't, decide to become a channel member and pay me directly for the work, that's totally fine. I completely understand, how hard it is to just, keep afloat these days. I mean, I'm a dad and I've got a mortgage, so I totally get it. But just know that I'm grateful for any of your support, whether it's financial or otherwise. I'm grateful for every view, every like, every comment, even the negative comments. Just the fact that you guys are watching my work that I really put so much love and elbow grease into is really gratifying for me. So I just want to thank all of you. And I want to especially thank you guys who decide to become channel members, and I'll interact with you guys, a little bit more concretely there. One last point before I close this video, just to let you guys know, I am going to be back on TikTok as of today. So if you want to interact with me directly, TikTok's the best place. What goes on there is a little bit different to YouTube content. Essentially on TikTok, we just have an extended Q&A. I've been doing that for several years. I've had a good period off, about 18 months. Essentially since my son was born, I jumped off TikTok. It was just a little bit too time consuming and consuming the mental bandwidth, if you know what I mean. But I'm happy to jump back on now. And essentially people just ask me questions and we talk. I'll give extended answers and we talk about all things strategic studies stuff, military history stuff, trends in contemporary conflict, World War II, Vietnam, whatever you like. Essentially I try and steer clear of I don't know, whatever the kids are into these days, Kardashians and stuff like that. Even Kardashians, it probably makes me sound super old, eh? But, essentially serious history and strategic study stuff is what we talk on TikTok. So if you guys want to interact with me, that's the best place. Otherwise, again, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching any of my content. And if any of you guys want to join and become channel members, I'd be very, very grateful. So otherwise, I'll see you all guys in the soup and take care of yourselves.